off. I think it's kind of more exciting for the viewer. And I don't know, it's just kind of a fun form to be walking around the city talking about stuff. I want to capture some of this autumn foliage. I can get nice long, hour-long takes. Okay, my fucking phone is on. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I want to address. No, I want to talk about eye contact. I've been seeing these TikTok videos. Of course, the self-fulfilling prophecy of my TikTok is kind of feeding me, I guess, my own point of view or my own kind of worldview or something. It's the just shows you your own biases, I guess, reflects them and warps. I don't know. I'd like to believe that I'm biased towards objectivity. I'm biased toward the truth, toward the objective truth. Here we are, World Poetry Tour, day 2. I don't know, I just think, maybe, why the fuck not? I got nothing else to do. I'm writing the Great American Novel on YouTube. On a friend's apartment, we're walking by this shit again. If you're following along at home, please don't stalk me, please don't show up. In the middle of my live stream, it jump scared me. This is a found footage horror film for Halloween. This is the Blair Witch Project, except nothing happens, nobody gets killed. It's just the horrors of anxiety, and it's the horrors of, these are all the people looking at the Friends apartment. These are all the pilgrims, the Friends pilgrims. This is the horror film. This is the found footage horror film that we're making. These are the Friends enthusiasts from around the world. Coming to New York, coming to the West Village, raising. Why do the Friends live in the West Village? This is what I don't understand. What do they do? Like Ross is like a archaeologist or something? Chandler is some kind of like ad person or something. Monica's a chef. Rachel works in she's a barista basically. That's the most realistic, I guess. But none of them are, Joey's an actor. Phoebe's a guitar player. Or is she a barista? What the fuck does Phoebe do? She's but I don't know. I don't necessarily remember, didn't feel like a creative show. Felt very corporate. In fact, I think Friends was designed by television executives. It was designed by television executives to be like kind of a perfect DVD. No, that was before DVDs, but it's so sick because the show is called Friends and they become your friends. Like people hang out with this show. I remember when they put it back on Netflix a few years ago. It was a huge fucking thing. And I watched the first 1 or 2 seasons of Friends when it was on in like 1994, 95. And then I never looked back. I'm not sure. The shows about New York, about young people in New York or whatever that I tend to like have a little more texture than that. I think that's part of what makes Friends successful is it's not really... It's just kind of like Abercrombie, New York. I don't know. It's like, they make fun of themselves in high school. They were lame in high school. Monica used to be fat or whatever. It's all about who's got a crush on who. Seinfeld is like this miniature universe. It's like, there's an ethnicity to it. Because they're kind of caricatures, but like they're capturing the old New York, right? That's kind of what's fun about Seinfeld is like it's sort of about the old weird New York and all of the characters and all of the color and flavor. Now it's Friends New York. Now it's Taylor and Travis New York. The new Tom Brady and Giselle. Now that Tom Brady's a stand-up comedian. We're all stand-up comedians now, okay? Just accept it. Just accept that you're a stand-up comedian, and the sooner you get on stage and start doing stand-up comedy, the better. It's the only way we can deal with our hysterical, I mean, from watching TikTok, it feels like our reality is just like breaking down, or it already has. You know, it feels like it broke down 30 or 40 years ago, and we're just kind of, I mean, I think that's one of the things that is good and cool about TikTok is it is like a panoply of points of view, and it is a way for people to organize outside of, you know, they want to characterize it like it's a sinister thing because it's Chinese owned or whatever, and maybe that's true. Maybe I'm just a sucker. Maybe I'm just getting pulled into, here we go, we got some custom teas. I wonder if they could make an Easy Paradise tea. I like their style. Legalize marinara, there you go. I wonder if how much for an Easy Paradise t-shirt? I really missed out on the t-shirt sale. You know, it may already be too late to merchandise my brand. Which way do I want to go? Do you hear that authentic New York subway sound? I never walked down here. I guess that's why I've never seen this t-shirt short. There's Cherry Lane right there, everybody. The one and only. God, where was I? TikTok. And Twitter, for that matter, or before it was purchased, you know. I mean, Jesus Christ, people have a problem with, you know, the Chinese owning TikTok or whatever, using it as surveillance. How they want to make it illegal in this country. You know, they just want to ban it. And yet, Elon Musk can buy, you know, 1/3 of basically our communication media. No problem. There's no, you know, there's no FCC regulation. There's no, well, you can't own 2 stations in one town. It's like, no, just buy, you know, basically the modern kind of news. It's all on Twitter, right? I mean, all text-based. Twitter, I mean, now, right, the other fucking apps have started to move into these fucking spaces with threads. They smell blood. They smell weakness. Apparently, Twitter's, or X. Does anybody call it X? It's Twitter. You can't just name everything X. Oh, it's X. That's like something a fucking 12-year-old would do. Or an 8-year-old, not even a 12-year-old. A 7-year-old. 7-year-old, oh, let's call it X. Project X. Wow, it's so secret. So secret and cool sounding. Wow, Project X. Why can't I get my fucking, let's do some of this for a sec. There, we'll get a little. Can you still hear me? As long as I'm just jabbering, you know, maybe I'll give you something else to look at while I smoke. Yeah, so X, apparently the usage has plummeted, which, doesn't surprise me at all. I quit using it. I quit using it at the beginning of June, and I don't really miss it. I do think that, I don't know, just having the algorithm decide what the hell, you know, thought in the public sphere are going to be hammered in every time you refresh this thing. And to be honest, I mean, when I was on Twitter, I do think it fueled the division and the sort of nitpickiness of people's politics and their identities being tied to their politics. You know, through the whole, everybody just had hyper-specific takes on why this is bad, and you know, you could argue for any fucking thing, and a bunch of dumbasses on Twitter. So you just had to take it. You're just like beating yourself up all day. You know, you just are reading like I mean, especially for, it was just like, men are shit. You are shit. Hate yourself. You're wrong about everything. This was the Cafe Chino, where the birthplace of off Broadway. This is Cornelia Street of the famous Taylor Swift song. Speaking of Taylor Swift's New York, she's writing history. It's living history, everybody. We're living in the Taylor era. I mean, you can talk about the eras, but I mean, she has eras and eras and eras, but we are all living in the Taylor era. And speaking of which, this is Taylor's carriage house. How cute is that? It's like a little Thomas Kinkade fucking painting. Taylor's just had this perfect little Thomas Kinkade painting of a life where she just gets to be the president of Girl Boss. And I don't know, you know, she's an icon. She's the boss. But I don't know, there's something super corporate about fucking Taylor Swift. Her dad is like a finance bro. She grew up in a Christmas tree patch. That sounds like a money laundering scheme or some kind of, you know, rich person hobby. It also sounds like PR bullshit. Okay, so walking and talking, you know, we're all over the place. We're in Taylor land. This is Taylor Disney. We're never gonna walk Cornelia Street again. What the hell else was I talking about? Eye contact. I see all these TikTok videos about, I just want to put this here for 1 second. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I see all these TikTok videos about how people are afraid to make eye contact. And apparently eye contact has become like some kind of like rarity. You know, it's like a delicacy. It's like nobody makes eye contact anymore. Now it's like an exception, which is very weird to me because I do think eye contact is like a kind of like telepathy. You know, like you can communicate, you can connect. Those are our, you know, our reality tunnel, kind of primarily. These are like the cable hookups right here. And so I don't know, it just goes more with what I was talking about yesterday with like social isolation and everybody feeling kind of desperate, depressed, alienated. They don't want, I mean, what, like eye contact is like a confidence thing, right? Like people with psychotic amounts of eye contact, like they won't even blink. They make such intense eye contact. That's looked at as like super alpha or super powerful, super confident. You know, I used to go out and, you know, when I would make eye contact, people, they'd be like, your pupils are huge. You can like almost like transfer chemicals through eye contact. It's just a way that we're connected. I don't know. I just thought that was weird that I'm seeing these TikTok videos about people like this is, I don't know. Is this normal for younger people to like avoid eye contact? I'm an ASMR boyfriend. This is an ASMR boyfriend simulation. This is your middle-aged loser philosopher Ethan Hawke type from Reality Bites. Okay, now we're all lit up, so we can keep walking. Yeah, we just wanted to have that little moment. Yeah, I've been seeing these fucking, I don't know, it's a crazy time, right? There's crazy shit happening in the world. I've been seeing these astrology videos pop up. Why do we go to astrology when there's darkness or ominous foreboding signs, like this war and shit. And, apparently Pluto enters Aquarius like for the next 20 years, like in January or something, January 2024. I'm in Aquarius, Sun. So that's a fixed sign, I guess. And having Pluto transit, I guess, in your fixed sign is like, there's going to be change. You have to get ready to change so you can... Part of the shit I've been seeing on TikTok is like about past lives. A lot of people in the comments are like, I'm tired. I feel like I'm on my final life, reincarnation. I saw this really interesting video about, this guy was talking about, it seemed like a pretty, because some of the, late at night, some of the videos that pop up are like there to scare you. So one of them was like, what happens after we die? And this guy was basically saying, there was some hypnotist, they hypnotized all these people. And they said when you die, they all said the same thing, even though they hadn't conferred beforehand. They said you float above your body, right? You can see your body. And then if you can choose to stay sort of like in spectator mode, right? You can choose to stay and sort of observe. That's what ghosts are, right? And it's basically like playing Counter-Strike. You're in spectator mode, sort of between lives, if you want to be. That's what ghosts are. That's what spirits are. But then you can go back to whatever it is, the bright light. You follow the bright light into kind of the chamber of souls where you're reunited with everyone you've ever loved and all the souls that you have vibed with through all your different lifetimes, right? I think that's kind of a fascinating idea. The school of life, every lifetime is kind of an education, a curriculum. You choose your parents, right? You choose who your parents are going to be, and based on, whatever you're trying to achieve, how you're trying to evolve through eternity and become, fully realized soul or whatever, who the hell knows. We have old souls, we have young souls. Which lifetime are you on, But one of the videos was like, there are certain people that you feel drawn to instantly without maybe even talking to them. You can't really explain why. Something calls out to you, the voices, intuition, and
velocity.
And there's, it's because you know them from a past life, or there's some kind of connection. There's, there is kind of a invisible, deeper magnetism, a deeper telepathy happening. That's one reason why I talk about eye contact. I mean, eye contact is only a more direct way, I think, at getting without speaking, but like I don't know, there are weird kind of like impulses when you meet certain people that they're gonna matter. You're gonna know them for a long time, or they're gonna be important to you, or why do you have chemistry with them, or and so then you can stay, it's like being in a video game. You can stay in the kind of in-between lives, in the guff, the soul chamber, until you want to come back. And then you come back and you do it all over again. You ride the ride all over again. Apparently there's a waiting list to get on Planet Earth. It's like that movie Up. Or what's the fucking, God, it was terrible. Soul, is that the fucking Pixar movie? It was not that great. But you know, it was kind of like that, I guess. That was their version. That was their new age secular kind of explanation, scientific. You know, it feels like that's almost like a scientific, but it's spiritual at the same time, right? Which I think is how a lot of us identify. There's tons of Neil deGrasse Tyson on fucking TikTok. I'm not really a fan. I don't know. I don't really ever watch any. I haven't. None of that has really hooked me. More of a Star Trek, The Next Generation. You know, just I think it's a crazy fucking time for human evolution, and just like we've experienced this huge leap forward in technological capability that has sort of abruptly come into all of our lives like a fucking wisdom tooth, you know? It's just erupted. I mean, a lot of people, I guess, Gen Z and whatnot, were born after the disruption, after the millennium. But, you know, let's get some McDougal going on. Yeah. But it's also just like, I don't know, I feel like it's traumatic. You know, we are like some kind of weird experiment for these billionaires and their tech, you know, all the tech stuff, the way anything, you know, whatever the algorithm is, there's no regulation as far as I know. You know, there's no regulation on what they show you, how they show it to you. And it seems like they've been given free rein to kind of trigger us and sort of experiment on us emotionally. You know, they want to drive engagement by spiking emotion and by polarizing people, by pissing you off, by making you jealous of your friends. Or I don't know, maybe you should just be more supportive, but it seems like the social media just kind of pushes your buttons. And, oh yeah, I was going to buy rolling papers. You know, I mean, that's something I see over and over and over again on these videos, and I think we all know it, is like wealth inequality is the fucking problem. The CEO pay is way too fucking high. They've slashed, especially in this country, they've slashed employee salaries to fucking pay executives, people with private jets, to shareholder buybacks, that kind of shit. The culture has changed in how corporations, people do business. And it's, you know, it's fucking, I guess it's boring to harp on, but it's like we all know this, but like we are getting so fucked by the people at the top in this sort of late stage capitalism thing, right? Where it's like, they're literally just vacuuming our fucking money. You know, it's their other areas. It's a reverse of fucking trickle down. What's up, man?
What's up?
How you doing, man? I'm live.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay, that was Ben Callahan. I wish I would have gotten him on fucking camera briefly. Oh well. Okay. You know, it's McDougal Street. You know, you just say hi. That's what it's all about. You gotta come down and just be with the people. I don't know, man. What's next? Should I go on vacation? Do I need to change it up? We got the big Halloween thing coming up on Monday. We got some big plans for that. You know, Kuzu Daddy is, God bless him, he's all about kind of production. You know, he wants high quality sound. He wants to bring these lasers. You know, he's helping me get a better camera. You know, that's the side of things that, you know, that's economic. It's a money thing. Once again, it's like, I saw some video today. It was like somebody, you know, I think it's easier to make $100,000 now. Like the six-figure threshold does not mean what it used to mean. But, this guy was like, you can barely live on $100,000 anymore. It's like, you know, I don't even make $10,000. Just to prove that it can be done. You know, to live outside the law, you must be honest. You know, we're given less and less of a choice now. It's like you have to make money. There's nothing is free. People's rent. I mean, this is just, maybe this is my, like I said, bias. These are the videos that I'm just like avalanched with on there. Or just like, everything's too expensive. They're working us to death like stevedores in this country. Stand-up comedians are there trying to fucking alleviate the fucking pain. It's a hysterical reaction. Everybody's the joker because they can't handle it. Everybody's just so fucking stressed out. Everybody's got 4 jobs. Teachers, public school teachers, have got 3 jobs. People are looking for answers. People are needing life coaching. I think the life coaching thing is like, you gotta have $300,000 to start a fucking business. You know what I mean? It's an illusion, right? I think everybody knows it. It's pretty hard to succeed. Just being self-made, right? I saw this Schwarzenegger thing where he's like, he hates being called self-made. You can call him Arnie or whatever you want, but you can't call him self-made. And I think that's kind of true, that people recognize that. There's no such thing as self-made. Everybody is a product of a system, and we help each other, right? We fucking help each other. We give. We support each other. You know, we are living in a society where the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. That's wealth inequality. That's super yachts. You know, that's these super villains, Bezos, Musk, Muskie. Somehow this jackoff's got like $200 billion. And he's running Twitter into the ground. He's running X into the ground. I don't know. So what do we do? What do we, you know, maybe that's the point. Maybe he just thinks, well, it doesn't fucking matter. You know, he doesn't like journalism anyway. He doesn't actually like free speech. He's just like Trump. It's Orwellian, you know. Well, he's Bush. It's like, if he destroys the media, if he destroys the truth, basically, that's what he wants to do. He hates journalists. That's what, you know, we are living in a fucking society where we are all citizen journalists. We are all reporters. TikTok, something like that. You know, you're just right in the fucking story. Everybody is telling a story, right? Everybody. It's a generation of voices. You know, there's 7, 10 billion, 8 billion souls. Half of them got iPhones. Chinese-made iPhones. And they're all content providers, and they're all capable of broadcasting, right? We're all broadcasting and telling our piece of the story. It's no longer mandated by, you know, limited legacy media, right? Distribution systems. The distribution chain has changed completely. And so we're seeing more of the truth in sort of an objective way, maybe. You know, a camera, even if it's in somebody's hands, you know, that's about as good evidence as you're going to have of anything. I don't necessarily look at that as like a surveillance thing. You know, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the surveillance, the real damage is happening like within. The way that people are policing their own behavior or just like wildly getting off track. You know, like some of these comedians that get up on stage, it's just like their point of view is so toxic and so unusual and poisonous, and yet they don't see it. I don't know, I think they can tell that they're sick or something and like they're hurting. But they're looking for I don't know, authority in their whatever the fuck it is, you know, their point of view. Oh my God, okay. Ladies' night, can you hear that? Let me switch it around here. Ladies' night. Oh. Sexy, 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 sexy. Okay. Oh man, can I buy weed? Yeah. Okay. You know, it's like we know kind of what the problems are. The systems are too big to sort of argue with or make you any dent in, whether it be governments or corporations. People don't seem to realize that they are the system. And I don't know, maybe people are starting to realize that. You know, in this country there is an awakening about unions and striking and getting more money and getting paid what you're worth. You know, it's something like, you know, the United States wages have only gone up 10% since like 1975 or something. Whereas like in France in the same amount of time they've gone up like 150%. You know, I think is what I heard. Who the fuck knows if that's true or not, but you know, it's like this is kind of a well-diagnosed fucking problem, and yet look at this jack-off that they just elected Speaker of the House. Like even Jim Jeffries was like not psychotic enough. They're like, well, we need somebody who like won't even certify the election. I don't know, man. I think, you know, Clarence Thomas just got his entire RV, what do they call it? His loan was forgiven. It was like a $300,000 RV. A fucking $300,000 RV is like a mansion. It's got like wheels, or 2 stories on it. Any RV with 2 stories. Supreme Court Justice. I mean, Clarence Thomas doesn't even give a fuck. I mean, he's pretty brazen. He's the one they're always talking about on the fucking New York Times and shit. He took all this shit, and you know, what can they do? They can't get rid of him. the Supreme Court. You know, they're there for life, for Christ's sake. Who would have thought that would be a bad idea? So, what the fuck? I don't know. I mean, you know, the worst thing is you see these fucking tech assholes on. They're all like Ross Perot on Twitter or on TikTok, and they're like, what we need to do is we need to model. We need to take 1,000. We need to take the tax code and we need to model it with AI. And then we'll have the AI rewrite the code. We'll make 700 pages. We'll turn it into 4 PowerPoint fucking bullet points. That'll be the new tax code. It's like Ross Perot already fucking tried to do this. Apparently there's a 6'5" effect. I saw this in the TikTok comments. Maybe this is just another triggering thing. Apparently Jacob Elordi, the guy who plays Elvis, and Priscilla, the new Sofia Coppola film about Priscilla Presley, he's 6'5", just like Bo Burnham. And, you know, as if 6 foot wasn't hot enough. Apparently 6'5" is the magic number. And Sofia Coppola said she cast him as Elvis because they were in some cafe in New York and all these chicks were like hanging, you know, like magnetized to him when he came in. And he seems like a nice guy. I mean, he's on Euphoria. I don't know what it is. I don't know why every woman now wants a guy with Marfans. They all want a tall, ugly fucking beast. Well, that was another, and this is one of my, obviously, trigger points. Being sort of a medium king, not a 6'5" king. Disclaimer, I am not 6'5". I know, you know, you can't always tell with movie stars and people on screen, but let me just be upfront about it. I am not 6'5". I wouldn't even want to be 6'5". You know, you'd be Frankenstein. No, nothing against that. That's cool and everything. It's just weird. I'm like I said, maybe this is something they know it's a trigger point for me. So one of the debates I saw in the fucking comments was, you know, Beauty and the Beast, the movie, the Disney film. You know, we were all fucking, especially the Disney princesses, especially the Disney princesses of the millennial generation. We were all indoctrinated with Disney propaganda. And Beauty and the Beast, right? Beauty and the Beast came out when I was like 6 or 7. I think I saw it like on a tape or something when I was a kid. I liked Aladdin, which was like, you know, I guess the stand-up comedy movie because Robin Williams. That's why we liked Aladdin, because it was funny. Robin Williams just riffing his ass off. You don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. He's doing like, I don't know, Bing Crosby impersonations and shit. So anyway, fucking Aladdin. So Beauty and the Beast. The debate in the comments was, the Beast was hotter. At the end of the movie, all these little, you know, people that saw it felt gypped because the Beast was actually hotter. The guy went from being this 6'7" pile of shit, ugly ass fucking animal, this werewolf freak. The Beast. They want the Beast. They want a big, unmanageable beast. They don't want an obedient. They want the wild side, you know, just the wild spirit, you know, the spirit of the buffalo. So anyway, the great white buffalo. So yeah, and then so he gets turned from the Beast into like this 5'8" Gaston or whatever the fuck, you know, he's like a handsome Frenchman. And so they're like, ew, gross, we want to fuck the Beast. Send back this fucking 5'8" good-looking, you know, twink. Not interested. I would like to give me some of that fucking 6'7", fucking hairball, Shrek-looking motherfucker. Every girl wants to date Shrek. They want to date a guy who's like 6'5" plus. Well, I don't know about that, but they want a huge ogre. They want an ogre. They want some big, ugly motherfucking dad-botted out fucking chest hair. You know, that's testosterone, I guess. The beast is just testosterone. He's just rage. He's just savage. He's a savage, right? He's, here we are at the chest shop. He's a savage. He's, so I don't know. I mean, this is another thing I keep seeing in the comments is girls who are so happy for Taylor because now she's with a man that doesn't make her feel, who makes her feel small. They like that. She gets to feel small and feminine because he's 6'5". This fucking Travis guy. This fucking Travis guy. Taylor, what are you doing? What are you doing with Travis? Why didn't you call me back? Why aren't you returning my text, Taylor? Why don't you ever respond to my comments? Yeah, this is just my pet topic that I love complaining about. So yeah, I think these people just wave. I'm filming me, not you. Trying to capture some of this foliage here on Comedy Central, short attention span theater. So, yes, she gets to feel small, you know, because she's 6'1", I guess. Which I think, here's my peeve with this, is I do think that people, and I've felt this, you know, I've definitely felt this in my life, like, they just look at you, especially women. They just look at you like you're a kid who doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about with anything. You know, if you're 6 feet tall, they just think they're comfortable. They feel secure. They feel like, yes, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's confident. It's like, he's not confident, he's just 6 feet tall. Whereas if you're not an ogre, if you're a beautiful, well-proportioned, elegant man like myself, they don't trust anything you say. They just think, this fucking little kid's gonna get his ass kicked. He can't protect us. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Now, I'm not saying this is a hard and fast rule. There's definitely fucking pussies who are more than 6 feet tall. But even my boss at my fucking corporate video job, it was just like, you know, they just looked at me like I had no authority. We had this one guy who was 6'8". My boss loved this guy. It was like, oh yeah, let's get him in here, like. I don't know. It's just such a, it's almost like an antiquated, like what, you don't even need to be that big. It's probably an inconvenience. I don't know. I wish just somebody would have told me. I wish somebody would have told me. I would have tried harder to be tall. I wanted to be 5'7", all my 5'8", you know, my fucking heroes were like, you know, modest. I thought that was attractive. You know, because the thing is in high school, you know, in school, it's like, this is one reason why there's a lot of tall comedians, I feel like. You know, comedians are usually like exaggerated or fucked up in some way, you know, fat guys, short guys, like Cat Williams or Kevin Hart or whatever. But then tall guys too, you know, like Norm is tall. And there's a lot of like tall comedians because you can tell when they were growing up, they probably got made fun of. It's not, you know, like Howard Stern, right? He's constantly talking about how not good looking he is. He's the Pelican. You know, his nickname is the Pelican. You know, which maybe in that era he was looked on as like, who's this gawky, nerdy fucking loser? But for whatever reason, and this does feel like a generational thing to some degree. I mean, maybe this probably is just like a fucking permanent thing, but like it also does feel like our generation, like it's like a requisite that somebody be like fucking really tall, like Nick or who's the guy, Adam Driver. You know, he's kind of this big fucking ugly dude. It's like, oh yeah, he builds furniture that's so hot. We all want to fuck Adam Driver because he's got big hands. We love his big hands, you know. Whereas like Howard Stern feels, it seems like he feels self-conscious because he's tall. Whereas like I don't think, I mean, I do think a lot of, you know, I don't know, people probably, you know, it's part of what gives him his authority, I think. Like Conan. Conan is also 6'4", right? So it's one of those things that like immediately people go, whoa, this guy's fucking impressive. But, you know, it's like when you're in school and whatever, everybody's all different sizes. You know, you're not really adult size yet. And so it seemed like it was less important. In fact, people would make fun of you, kind of, for being tall or something. And then I think when you get into adulthood, you know, a lot of these comedians have been made fun of or whatever. They're still thinking about themselves like, ooh, I'm this awkward, gawky, like tall is bad or something. But I don't think it is. I think in our society, there is like, I mean, business world, these guys, it's all a pissing contest. It's all, what are you made of? You gotta, you know, so it's like, Trump is like 6'4" or something. You know, I'm not saying it's like totally required, but if you go in there and you're fucking, you know, under 5'10", people just think, oh, that's nice. That's nice, dude. Go play with the kids. Go sit at the kiddie table. The adults are talking here. You're a fucking child. You're a fucking child. All right, where the fuck am I going? I was going to do an hour. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know if these last two streams have been my finest work, but it feels important. I'm trying something new. I want to get out there. And, you know, I just want to do it a little more. You know, I've really only been doing it about once a week for 2 hours. And I've been doing that bedroom. I want to get out while it's still kind of nice out. And, show the city. I think it's kind of more interesting. It's more dynamic to be moving around, even though it's like a little more distracted and a little more all over the place. Yeah, so I don't know. Just this is my peer review of all the TikTok videos I watched, I guess. I am gonna try to go to this poetry open mic tonight. I haven't really been good about showing up for that kind of stuff. I don't know. I mean, I did this comedy open mic yesterday at the Stand. It was just so fun. You know, I could jump around and yell in my sort of controlled way. But, you know, I couldn't do that at a poetry open mic. There's the decorum and the fucking, it's just uptight. They just feel uptight kind of in a way. And I don't know, I just want to expand as a performer. You know, I want to lay it down. I feel like in order to really find out what I'm capable of, I think I do have to go big. You know, and I think now is the time to kind of try new things and to try to expand and kind of like execute more of my own ideas, right? I think with comedy stuff or with hosting the show, I've been trying to kind of color inside the lines. I mean, especially with comedy stuff, it's like I'm trying to learn how to do material. I feel like, okay, I've kind of tried that. I've seen different ways to do it. And the fact of the matter is just like, that just doesn't work for me. I just have to go hard and go big. And, you know, the laughs will be there. Or they won't. Who cares? You know, I think that's part of the thing with comedy that you learn too. It's just like, you know, sometimes the audience is just against you. And in fact, maybe, you know, 30 to 40% of the time the audience is against you, or they're just not into what you're doing. I don't think we should look at that as like, this is something that I'm discovering. Living in front of the audience, being comfortable in front of the audience, you know, like, this is why it's important to get out and be on stage as much as possible, because you just need to get used. It's still kind, you know, or it has been out of my comfort zone, especially these comedy open mics. You know, you're worried about, am I going to do good? Am I going to bomb? And so it feels like you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and there's fear, and that can affect your performance, right? That can cause you to kind of go back into your shell a little bit and not do what you set out to do. And I just think that's why I need to be on stage as much as I can be, because I need to get used to things playing out in front of the audience, being in front of the audience, creating in front of the audience. That's starting to happen more and more with the open mic. You know, now that we've got, you know, we've been doing it for a year, and so I feel confident about the thing that we've set up. You know, now we know how to fly the plane, but now it's like, where do we want to go with it, you know? Where are we going to fly this fucking plane? We really can do some great fun shit, you know? I mean, we already have in a lot of ways, obviously, but it goes with everything, you know? Even though I really, you know, I've been on stage most of my adult life in various ways, but hitting it really hard, that's what it takes. You know, you really just have to throw yourself into it 100%. And, you know, these lessons do take time. You know, like I said, it has been a year and a half since I started doing comedy open mics. And the thing is, the point of doing it for me is not necessarily to get good at doing comedy. That's what I realize now, is like, I don't really actually like comedy. There are certain things that's popular in the form and how a lot of the popular people do it. And that's not really my interest. You know, my interest is not to learn how to do that. You know, so I'm getting more comfortable doing what I think is funny. But it's also, it's just like I said, it's just a way to basically purchase stage time, to get up, to create material, and to get comfortable talking on stage. I think that's a big part of what's hard about comedy, is like getting used to saying things and not having people laugh and not reacting too much to that. You know, not getting too, not deflating too easily. Keep pushing, you know, and learning how to talk to the audience is kind of what's tricky about it for me, because I think a lot of my stage career has been about avoiding the audience, or, you know, like in music. Yeah, I think they keep kicking me off on this street because it's like famous people live here. They probably got some kind of jam or something. Something to jam the signal. Look at that. Nice. You know, like, my interest now is to just go on stage and try to be as funny as I can possibly be. And to fuck all the rules, you know, fuck all the comedy class bullshit, fuck, you know, the material. Just be fucking hilarious and try to. I know it's easier said than done, but you know, with stand up, I think originally I set out to do things that were like closer to System Lord, because with System Lord, it's like there's no material, there's no fucking like, how do I communicate to the audience? It's just like, you know, I want to get, and I know this sounds insane, but like you want to get to that kind of Robin Williams place, or Jim Carrey, or Richard Lewis, you know, where you're just like, you're creating, you're bouncing, you know, and you're riffing, but like, I don't know. I think that's such a derogatory term. I don't think it really, it's like saying, it's not really riffing. You know, like if you're being hilarious, that's not like riffing, you know? It's just like, that's your job. Your job is to be hilarious. You know, just because you're improvising something does not, oh, it's just riffing. I think you can overcome that. You know, but for me, it's not, you're not necessarily making up all of it, but just like, I want to get to a place where I'm like more like this, where things will occur throughout the set that I want to say. You know, like you're constantly working on bits. You have all the bits in your head. Even with your fucking notepad, you usually just have like one little word written down or something. Baby Mozart. You know, you might have the whole bit written out, but you're writing on stage, creating on stage, I think is very possible. And just allowing ideas to pop up that are there, that you know, you didn't even know you were thinking about. Like that whole thing, I mean to harp on the tall thing, but it is something that, like, for better or for worse, I'm thinking about during the week or whatever. And so it's like I kind of have to just unload it here in my trauma dumping. For my vanity metrics. I'm trauma dumping for vanity metrics, okay? I'm trauma dumping for vanity metrics. Check out that moon. Ow! Scary. Is this light gonna change or what? I'm going for it. Fuck it, I don't care. So yeah, I'm trauma dumping for vanity metrics. And so, in conclusion, well, how the fuck did I start talking about that? You know, weaving. So that's vanity metrics. I saw that, I think, in a TikTok video. TikTok is just a great place for material, I think. I mean, I probably shouldn't mention TikTok as much, but like, you know, so many hot button topics kind of pop up in just like this quick succession that just like you're getting such an interesting, comprehensive kind of worldview of the moment. And this kind of highly entertaining, but also very like public. It's like the vox populi. You know, content is just coming from everywhere. You know, Stern or whatever is on there. But there's also just like, you know, comedians that you see on the street or something, you know, regular people. So yeah, I mean, I think in the course of doing it, vanity metrics is something I saw in a TikTok video and I thought it was hilarious, but also like, I don't know, you know, with poetry, I'm trained, that's one of my prime interests, is sort of catching and cataloging, using all of that kind of stuff, the jargon of the time, things that define the moment, almost like fashion. Because there is, I mean, whoever came up with that term, vanity metrics, that's good journalism. Journalism-ese. We're all just trying to catch a wave, you know? We're all just riding the waves. And sometimes the videos are personal. This Billy Connolly video popped up. He's old as fuck. He's still alive though. And he's like, if you're on drugs or alcohol, you'll never be a good artist. You know, your brain is fucked up and distorted by the drugs. You know, you're not actually experiencing like a real wave. You're experiencing like, you know, whatever, the drug. That seemed personal. But, you know, it's like a learning apparatus, I guess. Things to think about. That's kind of what I want to share on stage, is just like, I think a lot of comedians have a tendency to want to do this. They do all want to get up on stage, sort of like be arbiters of the moment and the voice of, you know, the what's going on. You know, I think people do want to say something about Israel, Palestine, or have some kind of like, you know, life-changing take, you know, that's going to go viral or whatever. Getting that succinct, getting that piece of video, getting it right, getting the Hollywood speech of whatever the fuck point you're trying to make absolutely perfect. Okay, it's not easy. You know, that's why I have to rely on energy. My brother had a very funny Facebook update. He said, the Euphrates River, I mean, he lives on the west side of Columbus, so it's like he's always seeing crazy shit and experiencing crazy shit. And I think it was two people in the gas station. One of them was like, there's demons everywhere. There's a lot of demons around. And the other one's like, yeah, the Euphrates River dried up in Iraq. And so there's all these demons. I can't remember why the fuck they were talking about, but my brother's just like, I just want to buy my Gatorade. So I don't know, maybe there are demons everywhere because the polar ice caps are melting and the guff is emptied. All the souls are here. 8 billion, 9 billion, 10 billion pieces. So, I don't know. I'm going to try to recapture the magic and boldly go where no one has gone before. Seek out strange new worlds. I think we all do. Life is uncertain. You know, it's all a strange new world. Even this one is strange and new to us. The old souls, the young souls, the pieces of God, reassembling the objective narrative through TikTok. See, when I stop moving, I can sort of focus on my articulation. When I'm like walking around and trying to talk, I don't know. It's a little more distracted, but I don't know. I don't know how these videos are going to appreciate. They're experiments, like everything, right? I'm an experimental. I was thinking today, what were my 20s about? What were my 30s about? What are my 40s going to be about, you know? Because I really didn't even get started until I was 30. I'm shocked. You know, everybody I know, everybody who's out doing these open mics is like 24 at the oldest. A lot of them. And they think they're too old. They're like, oh, I should quit and go do something else. It's like, you're 24. I'm 38. I didn't even get started until I was 30. But I was doing shit the whole time. You know, I was doing plays, playing in bands, writing shit, filming movies, you know. But, you know, when I was in my 20s, I was trying to learn how to do it, like, the right way. And I was kind of trying to follow all the rules and shit. I was trying to learn the rules before I break them. You know, with the limited technical resources I had. Trying to learn how to make a film, how to shoot, edit, act, write, direct. You know, taking directing classes in college, taking romantic poetry, taking poetry with Henri Cole, doing plays, doing Shakespeare plays, doing Tennessee Williams, watching fucking, you know, sleuthing media down through the libraries, you know, finding, you know, the treasures fucking linked just through hidden pathways of like things like My Dinner with Andre or fucking, you know, how do you hear about this stuff, you know, before the internet and shit? It was all a little bit harder to find, but just learning in my 20s. But I wasted time. I should have just trusted my ideas the whole time. It was all bullshit. I don't think I learned anything. That's what's fascinating to me about, like, you know, like the musicians of like the 60s and stuff, is like they were in their 20s as they were making that stuff. You see their artistic revolution. They were able to evolve as artists and yet still release things that were finished and sort of masterpieces at every stage, right? Even when they were in their early mid-20s, they were still making great music or whatever. And yet I feel like for me, a lot of that stuff, I wasn't famous. I'm still not famous. I'm still not a success or anything. And so, you know, when I look back on my career or whatever, my life, I'm like, well, did I make anything when I was 20 or 22 or 24 that stands up? Or, I mean, I made films, you know, when I was in my early 20s. Are they gonna, you know, if they ever put out a fucking Criterion fucking DVD of my fucking work, of my vlogs, are they gonna include my films that I made when I was 20 in Columbus? I don't know. Were they interesting? Were they good? They weren't releasable for technical reasons. But, you know, I was also growing up in Columbus, Ohio. It's not like I got plugged into what I needed. You know, if I had been in New York when I was 18, or, you know, as a child even, it's more likely that I would have gotten connected with stuff that may have led to, you know, in Columbus there's a pretty low ceiling, right? Especially at the time for what you could do. There wasn't really internet to distribute or to expose yourself. And so, you know, I look back at my life and I'm like, well, there's a lot of stuff I really didn't finish anything. You know, I have a lot of plays that I never finished. I have a lot of, you know, novels. I finished short stories and things. That's one reason why I started doing poetry, because it was just easier to finish things. But, you know, when I turned 30, that's when, you know, I was able to really apply my own ideas and to just be brave about sharing them. I think a lot of it was I was afraid to share. You know, when I made these films and they got criticized, that felt, well, I should just quit. You know, I'm not good at this. I obviously do not have the talent to do this, so I should just stop, right? And
Maybe that was the key.
you know, I really didn't make any films from like the age 25 to like maybe 28 or 29. I mean, even now, it's like, am I capable of making something that has absolute magnitude and discipline and is finished? I mean, a lot of my method is sort of just like embracing the ongoing kind of unfinishedness and just the act of creating it as you go. And I don't think that's a failure. I think that's what I learned, was just to embrace your natural tendencies and to use what you have and to use your inclinations and to follow that. You know, I think a lot of, and I sort of touched on this yesterday, these big systems of education and stuff, a lot of what were trying to teach me in college and theater program and to some degree in the English, but just in classes in general, is like obedience. It's obedience school. You know, it's like they don't want you to stand out. You know, they want you to sort of fit in with your peer group. And and to learn, I don't know, your craft, which is like, to be honest, I never really understood why the Stanislavski method or the sort of modern American version of that was necessary. To me, like I heard this thing where Joe Pesci said he calls acting behavior. To me, yeah, that kind of makes more sense. You know, it's not, I don't think the actor should be thinking about what they want or something necessarily, although that can be part of it, but it's more just like you are acting out a portrayal of a situation. How would that person act? I think is an equally valid question to ask, is like, what would this person do and what would this character do? You know, I was never really taught about character in playwriting classes and acting classes. To me, it would be much more interesting to think about character. Why a character does what they do. Why do they dress a certain way? Why do they, how do they behave, you know? What, you know, like in Glass Menagerie, that play was so close to my own life. It was about a guy who was trapped in a job he hated. He would write poetry on his breaks at work in the bathroom, which is something I did. This is when I was working in a restaurant in Columbus. This was before I moved to New York. I was 24. Or no, I was 25, I think. I was 25. James Dean was already dead. And, you know, it was just so much like my family life. You know, his mother is the other, he's got a mother and a sister, right? And his mother is just like, I don't know. She doesn't really listen that well, let's just say that. And he's, you know, and so like, I don't know. To me, it would be interesting to think about who these characters are, how they talk, what their apartment is like. The whole thing takes place in an apartment. Why is it a memory play, you know? Tom Wingfield is a poet. How does that play into it, you know? It's not, you can't just, you know, I mean, that's where the fun is, I think. Being creative about that kind of stuff. You know, when I was in college, it was just kind of stripped of all that. You know, they want to teach you Meisner, or they want to teach you this thing that's very like action, reaction, action, reaction. Everything else is just externals, you know? That's all stuff you add later, costume. It's like, I don't know if that's how people actually behave. To me, it's, you're living the part as the character, you're thinking as the character, you're being them. It's that simple. It's not like, what do they want? It's like, what would this character be thinking about? What are they seeing? How are they reacting to what they're seeing? How would this person, oh, okay, now they're learning this. How would they react to it, you know? What we want, I don't know. All that is way more subconscious, I think. It's like we want something to eat. We want sex. We want people to laugh at us. We want to be successful on stage. We want, you know, our friends to fucking not have drama. We don't want this person to be mad at us. We want these people to like us. We want this girl to like us. We want, you know, success in our careers. We want to move up. So I don't know. I'm not sure if that was useful or anybody. I just felt the urge. I felt the urge to go live, okay? Here we are in Bleecker and McDougal, just another night in the big city. I'm going to go do an open mic, take the message to the people, feel unprotected interaction with an audience, and just kind of show face, get back out circulating, and do what I'm meant to do, which is to walk to various shows and fucking sound off, say my piece. That's my 2 cents. The modern Andy Rooney, the millennial Andy Rooney. Thank you for watching. We're back on the move. I'm gonna get some rolling papers. Get some papers, get some smokes. Gotta get my smokes at the old Smoke Beer Lotto here. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe. Thank you for hanging in there. The teachings, the jabberings. the Wanderings, the Wonderings, the McDougal, the Bleecker, the comedy, the existential comedy, the human comedy continues. Thank you for watching. Talk to you soon.